Jaden Fox here, and I'd like to talk to you today about why are relationships so complicated, especially for people who are on a path of awareness. So this is program 5 of the False Light series. If you have not seen program 1, where I talked about and we looked at the right-wrong game and how that kind of the overlays in culture that bind you into those paradigms so you can't be yourself, or program 2, where we looked at the New Age false light paradigm and all the love and joy and peace and bliss that tangles you into these little knots that you can't get out of very easily. And then program 3, where we looked at how to get out of that stuff. Program 4 was looking at false light programming around love and relationships. It's kind of makes you want to be a certain way with your partners and with the other person that may not necessarily be to your advantage. But the thing that I want to kind of highlight is we looked at is how it bluntly looks at how the culture tells you flat out, we're going to mess with your relationships. They give you that information that we're going to manipulate and alter your relationships. We're going to make you fall in love with this other person. And we're going to want you to want to be that way and want to align with that and want to choose that as your reality. So culture's been manipulated and we've been manipulated to choose those kinds of manipulated relationships where we're basically giving them permission to interfere in our relationship. So if you haven't watched those, you don't necessarily have the background to really get this one. This one might be a bit challenging if you haven't seen those other ones. So I recommend you watch those other 4 programs first and download the ebook that comes along with this that has more information than just what I'm sharing on the video, so you'll want to get that download as well. But this is program 5. Why are relationships so damn complicated? That you may have experienced. I've noticed people kind of go in one of 2 camps where they've had a series of dramatic and just traumatic relationships, and people who have avoided relationships altogether and stayed out of them, and they don't know why. They want to be in them, but they've avoided them for some reason. And I've done both. And I want to share with you what I've learned about why they seem so complicated. And it is actually because they are so complicated. So from my perspective, when you're in a relationship with another person, you're not just in relationship with one other energy, you're in relationship with at least 5 different energies. 5. So it's like 5 different parts. Every person comes in 5 parts. So we're going to kind of break this down and look at the different points of view that are all interacting with you, not only in your own body, but when you're in a relationship with another person. So part 1 is the infinite being of that other person. So you've got what the New Age would want you to buy into is the soul, which replaces your infinite being. But your infinite being is actually that part of you that is sourced from beyond this creation, that is outside of the game that's played here in this reality, and never born, never died. Like, you just exist and you kind of popped into this reality to play this game. That infinite being knows the you outside of that game and knows the bigger direction, the bigger picture of where you're going. And you are that. You can't be separated from that. That is who you be. It's your essence. It's your source. And New Age wants you to think that you don't have that and it's not part of you, but we've learned in program 4 that that's not true, or what if that's not true? And it's in you, and it's just a matter of kind of relaxing into that and recognizing it's there all the time. So when you're interacting in a relationship, you have that part of that person that you're interacting with. And that it's like a light thing that comes in and out and in and out. And if a person's aware, you'll see it from time to time kind of show up. If a person's not aware, you may never ever see that part of the person, or you might get little glimmers of them as you hang out with them. They'll kind of shift into more of their aware space, and you'll see glimmers of that show up. And you probably have been working to invite more of that to show up in those relationships. So this is one part, and that part has an agenda, but it's subtle, and it's like a bigger view. It's this long view, so it doesn't so much having a point of view about day-to-day things. It has this longer point of view about things, unless they've been manipulated and false light has installed in this place. Then they have a more active point of view as their higher self taking place. The second part is what I call your authentic physical body. So that is like a piece of the planet that like you embody. It's this animal, the physicalness of you that you're cohabitating in. You can think of it as this apartment complex that you live in, or this house that you live in, you occupy, and that other things occupy too. And we're going to look at those other parts. So part two is the expression of the planet and also the expression of the universe. That is the tangible physicalness of you that has the emotions, that has the sensations and other stuff. I'm not going to get too detailed with it, but I want you to recognize that what if this is the part where your connection to the universe, your connection to the planet communicates to you through. And for my awareness, body has an agenda, but it's subtle and it's more about support. And it's a very flexible agenda. It's a malleable agenda. And it's more about kind of moving things forward towards a symbiotic and co-creative expression between not only you, the infinite being, but all the other players that are cohabitating in the body along with, and we'll look at that as well. So that's part two, the physical body. When you're interacting in a relationship, you're aware that there are times where the physical body has a point of view and it shows up and it's like, no, I want this. And often it doesn't show up until it has a need, a specific need. And then it shows up and it states what its need is. The rest of the time, it's just kind of hanging out, participating with everything else. So as you pay attention, you start to notice when physical body shows up. So the third part is the person's belief system. And this is it's driven mostly by polarity, the rights and wrongs, the goods and bads. It's the mental patterns that people have created to basically run their life. This culture has conditioned people into not being in the moment and just dancing with what shows up, but rather to plan and orchestrate and decide in advance, basically based on conditioning, programming. It's what your parents taught you to be. It's what your culture taught you to be. It's what your state-sponsored education, i.e. propaganda, taught you how you should live, how you should express yourself. Like all of those, your religion, if you've been part of that, if you've been in the false light, it's the rules that you memorized about how this reality works and how you should be one with everything and all those kind of rules. Like they're the constructs that you function by. They're mental constructs, primarily mental constructs. So this is the part of the person that's predictable, repeatable, and shows up for, like, you almost have basic rules for all the major things that interact in your life. They're just like automatic. When this happens, boom, I do this. When this happens, boom, I do this. It's very much like computer programming. That's why often we'll call it your programming, because it is. It's been handed to you in most cases. You didn't choose it so much, or you chose it from this option and that option, and not what you, the infinite being, actually wanted to. So let's do a little bit of clearing around this. So what is all the unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies and frequencies around all this. Everything we've engaged so far. Can we put that in the pile? Yeah, I choose that. And encapsulate. And everything from down below in the pile, back behind, up above, way out front, from the left, from the right, everything from inside, everything outside, everything remaining that doesn't belong to you, all in the pile. All in the pile, encapsulate. Wow. And can we shrink all that stuff down to less than nothing? Yeah, I choose that. And just keep half sizing it. Boo! Imagine it shrinking, 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 shrinking. Less than nothing. And vaporize this big ball of flame. Anything left gets roasted. Vaporize, say goodbye, vaporize, say goodbye. And resend, revoke, you can't reclaim, renounce, denounce, just trying to create, vaporize, say goodbye, vaporize, say goodbye. And if that makes no sense, you haven't seen the earlier parts, so you want to go back and watch those. So your belief system is pretty much the conditioning that you've been handed over by the programming. A lot of this is actually false light. And a lot of this is this movement to hijack the culture and program you to not be authentic and program you to not be aware of who you be as an infinite being and not to express yourself genuinely and authentically. Because if you do, you're going to become aware and awake, and you're not going to function by the rules that this reality has set up, and then you become a problem for the control system from the structure here. And that's what we're looking to take apart. That's what we play in. So you may not be, but that's what I like to do. So what we do is, what I do with people often is teach them how to dismantle their belief system, how to dismantle those rules. And so you can be more in the moment and be more authentic. But as you do that, you start to become aware of these other players. You start to become aware of your authentic body, and you start to become aware of these other two players that we haven't looked at yet. Let's clear from back behind. So what is everything that's up or active, and what is all the unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies and frequencies around all that? Wow. And can we put all that in the pile? Yeah, I choose that. And encapsulate all, everything down below, back behind, up above, left, right, way out front. Everything from inside that doesn't belong, outside, everything remaining. Take a step back, all in the pile, encapsulate all. Whew. And can we shrink all that stuff down to less than nothing? Yeah, I choose that. Vaporize, say goodbye, vaporize. And a message to the physical body, which has a different way of interacting with things. You can let all that go. Just bodies, let that go, let that go. Not yours, not you, not you, not you, not you, not you. Let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. Not yours, not yours, not yours, not yours, not yours, not yours. Feel that? Not yours, not yours, not yours. So there's the being that's in awareness here, and then there's the body that we're inviting into taking some action that's separate from the being. And you, the being, are like, what's going on? But you can feel something in your body if you're paying attention. So let that go, 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 let that go. So you can practice and you can explore and notice the difference between who you are and who your physical body is. And that's another thing. We go in more depth, but not in this program. So the belief system, when you're in a relationship with your partner, you're interacting with their belief system, all of their rules, all of their constructs, all of their programming, all of their conditioning. By now, you're probably more or less aware of that. That, for most people, to the degree that they're aware or not, the less aware they are, the more that's all that runs their life. And you interact with that predominantly. And you can get used to what their patterns and rules are, and you'll notice that under certain circumstances, they just automatically show up in a certain way. And that is like, you can see what's natural. It's programmed. Like, they're not necessarily aware of it. It's a pattern they run. But you probably recognize those patterns after a while. What you wonder is, when they leave those patterns, what's going on? Is it their infinite being causing them to leave the pattern, or is it false light causing them to leave the pattern? And often it's false light that causes them to leave the pattern. It's some internal manipulation, and let's look more deeply at that. So the gut microbiome is actually the trillions of bacteria, fungi, protozoa, amoeba, all these energies, these biological and sometimes biotechnological components that live in your body. So, and live on your body. But I'm not so concerned about the ones that live on your body as much as I'm the ones that live in and are your digestive system. So you've got, actually, there's less of you, the physical body, and there's more of these other characters, these other, I call them good bugs and bad bugs. It's like the things that digest your food live in you. So from their perspective, you are literally a city or a housing development where they live and they have their experience. You could think of your body as a planet for these smaller things to live inside and have their reality and their existence. So there's literally a civilization and community that's going on, or multiple communities that exist in your body that run your body or co-create with your body. Mostly bacteria predominate, and they're in every cell in your body. They manage your energy flow, they manage your emotions. Your personality is more to do. You start to dig into current science, and we'll go deeper into that in the gut microbiome part of it, that your emotions and your emotional patterns have more to do with your gut microbiome than they have to do with you. They're a product of how things are functioning in your system, and whether you have enough of the good bacteria that are supportive and symbiotic. In other words, they live to support you as you support them. So they support you, you support them, they work together. It's the concept on this planet of symbiosis. Of how you can also have, or not can have, you do have what I call 100% non-symbiotic. In other words, they don't care about you. They don't care whether you survive, whether you live or die, whether this body, whether this host continues on or not. If it dies, they just move on and they'll embody another host. They don't care. They're not here to support you. They're not here to make your body function better. They're not here to repair your body. They're here to do their own thing, and they don't care what happens to you. They only care about their own agenda. And so those are the ones that I'm going to mostly focus on here in this program, because those are the ones that aren't like part of the symbiotic system here. I'm going to just say generically, what if they come from somewhere else that doesn't buy into the symbiotic natural order of things here? And they're not here to make everything work better. They're more here for their own benefit. And we'll go in other programs, we'll go more deeply into that. It's a little too weird to engage here at this point. But so what if you have energies in your body that actually like and demand sugar? They demand you to be eating basically things that aren't good for your body, things that don't support the microbiome that benefits you. They want to tear down that system. They want to eliminate the system that is working for you, and they want to override that with their system that actually is seeking to break things down. And they love preservatives. They're the ones who digest the preservatives. They're the ones who digest the chemicals. They're the ones who digest the things that the healthy microbiome does not have the capacity to digest. So what food you eat determines whether you're feeding the things that are symbiotic and support you, or the things that are not symbiotic and actually are seeking to break your system down. So this is a complicated picture, but let's just say, what is all the unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies and frequencies around all this? And everything all that is, can we put that in the pile? Yeah, I choose that. And encapsulate all that, and everything down below, and back behind, and up above, way out front, from the left, from the right, inside, outside, everything remaining all in the pile, encapsulate all. And can we shrink all that stuff down to less than nothing? Yeah, I choose that. Rescind, revoke, you can't reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, create, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize. Toasted. Yeah. So let's look at that. So truth, what are all the energies that you are thinking of as you that are actually external microorganisms? And just feel that information. It's just information. Well, let's break it down a little bit more. Or let's go back. So what is all the stuff that you think of as you that is you, the infinite being? What is all the stuff that you think of as you that is your authentic physical body? What is all the stuff that you think of as you that's actually your belief systems? What is all the stuff that you think of as you that's actually your internal microorganisms, your microbiome? Okay, so you get a sense of that breakdown. So, Truth, how much are you responsible? Let's look at one little detail here. So, Truth, how much are you responsible for your thoughts and emotions, like for sourcing your thoughts and emotions? And how much is your gut microbiome responsible for sourcing your thoughts and emotions? And depending on how balanced your system is, how contributive, how symbiotic your system is, you'll have more or less of that. So what you look at here is if you have a lot of voices that keep demanding of you to eat sugar and processed foods and fast foods and things that you kind of know aren't supportive or healthy for your body, and there's a big mindfuck around what is healthy and what's not. But let's just say in general, you get a sense of what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So what are all those voices that keep coercing you and harassing you? What if those actually come from your microbiome, from the non-contributive part? Science has actually figured out that the original bacteria, the ones that are symbiotic, actually were hardwired into the system in a way where they could communicate to you and they could tell you what their needs are. But the non-symbiotic ones have hacked that system directly, and they actually talk louder. So what if the contributive ones are a quiet voice and say, oh yeah, it'd be helpful if we had some vegetables, if we had more greens. And then you have the non-symbiotic ones that are like, damn it, we need that sugar, give me that donut, no. Okay? There's a difference in the way those voices are. They've learned to hack the system, and those players are in there for you. Let's look at the bigger picture. They're in there for your partner too. So they can at times step in, and if you see your partner's moody and goes into like getting angry or despondent, depressed, that's all microbiome stuff. All of that. Whether you have energy or not, whether you can think clearly, your capacity to process information, all of that stuff is now clearly discovered to be part of your microbiome. And basically how well that stuff is functioning, what the balance is. When you have a lot of the good guys, things work really well. When you have a lot of the not so helpful guys, the bad bugs, things work less well. And those guys will show up in your relationship and they will take a stand. And if you have a partner who's very emotional or even if you are, they're very participative, and they're very noisy. They're demanding. And they're nasty. They're flat out nasty. If you hear nasty voices in your head that are putting you down on a regular basis, likely there are other people, we haven't looked at the part 5 yet, but likely they're a part of that is the non-contributive, non-symbiotic gut microbiome that you have functioning there. So what is all the unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies and frequencies around all that? Can we put all that in the pile? Yeah. And everything down below, back behind, up above, from the left, from the right, inside, outside, everything remaining. I'm going to turn up the air conditioner here. And everything in the pile, in the pile, in the pile. Wow. And take a step back from the pile. And can we shrink all that stuff down to less than nothing? Yeah, I choose that. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize. Wow. And what are all the entities, demonic creatures, coalition aliens, reptilians, parasitics, beings, doings, gods, and other non-contributive energies and frequencies? Pre-tag, pre-encapsulate, freeze, tap down all, freeze, tap down all. What are other networks, hive civilizations, customers, clients, shareholders, stockholders, boards of directors? Pre-tag, pre-encapsulate, freeze, tap down, trace, scan, idle. Pre-tag, pre-encapsulate all. Wow. And can we banish all these energies from all your universes, dimensions, realities, parallels, virtual reality worlds, and simulations? Yeah, I choose that. Resend, revoke, you can't reclaim, renounce, denounce. Just trying to create, vaporize, liquefy. Prime creator, enable prime creator, banish all these energies. Do this now. Banish, anchors, resend, revoke, you can't reclaim, vaporize, liquefy, null, void, null, void. So the fifth part of what you're interacting with when you're interacting with your partner in relationship is what I call their agents and their overseers. And this is the weirdness. So most individuals, and if you've been watching these other programs, you've recognized the degree of manipulation or interference that's involved in our culture. That is a part of this planet. And there are some people who have more manipulation, and there are other people who have less interference, or more interference, less interference. And it seems to me, this is just my interesting point of view, is that the people who have the most focus towards awareness and a drive towards understanding, becoming conscious, exploring this reality and not fitting in, those people are more likely to have influencers, active agents, or overseers who engage their life since before they were born. In some cases, even engage your parents before they were born to set up, to stage your life in a certain way. And the further you start to poke into this reality, you start to realize that what if you aren't just a cog in the wheel in this system, or that you're a nothing, but what if there's actually something, I don't want to say that you're here to do, but that there's something valuable or important that you contribute to this planet that goes outside of everything that this culture talks about and goes outside of everything that the spiritual community talks about, though they kind of lean towards it a bit. But there's something that you bring, and there's some change that occurs as a result of you being aware. And what if there are energies that seek to redirect, block, stop that, and or use it to their advantage in some way? And that's what I'm going to call the agents or overseers. And this is the stuff that we've been conditioned not to look at. And when I'm saying what is all the unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, these are the layers and clouds of things that prevent us from being aware of this stuff. So what is all of the unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking? Wow. Cloaking. Wernicke's commands, booby traps. And in other programs, we talk more about what all these things are and how you can interact with them more clearly. But basically, we just want to get rid of them. and all of the covert, unseen, unacknowledged, and undisclosed energies and frequencies. Whew. And everything that all that is, can we put all that in the pile? Yeah, let's use that. And encapsulate all that. Everything down below, back behind, up above, way up front, from the left, from the right, inside, outside, everything remaining, all in the pile, all in the pile, all in the pile, encapsulate all. And this is all the stuff that blurs you out and makes it difficult to understand what's going on, or like you hear me talking and you like it's not registering anymore. It's this stuff. That's why we keep clearing it. So everything, all that is, can we shrink all that stuff down to less than nothing? Yeah, I choose that. Resend, revoke, can't reclaim, renounce, denounce, vaporize, occupy, null, void, null, void, null, void, null. Embody, let all that go. Let that go. Let that go. It's not yours, not yours, not yours. Not you, not you. Just let it go. 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 Just let all that go. Let all that go. Not yours, not yours, not yours, not yours, not yours, not yours. Yes. So, a lot of it has to do, my interesting point of view and my research and my digging and my exploration over the years has been like, who are these players? Why are they here? What are they doing? How do they have power? And how can we shut them down and how can we get rid of them? That's kind of what I enjoy doing. I've had to learn how to do because my life has been so manipulated on so many levels in so many ways that they've always been there, and as I become more aware of them, they're intolerable, and no, they need to leave. And so that's what I've been learning, and that's what I teach people to do, is how to find the stuff that's in your body, how to track it, how to see what's you, what's not you, and how to clear it and how to get rid of it. That's kind of the core of what I seem to play in. And so these players, these agents and overseers, they seem to be focused towards your gifts, your capacities, and preventing you from becoming aware. Because if you become aware, there are things you'll change, things you'll do differently, gifts that you'll step into, things you'll realize and recognize that you have the capacity to do that you've never allowed yourself to do. And what if they've been using your gifts and capacities either through you or behind your back? And so depending on who you are and what you're here to do, kind of, it's like they have a more or less active role in your life. And the more you become aware, the more you see these players. And what if it's your job to step up and become more powerful than who they pretend to be. And the false light are a big chunk of these players, or at least a good place to start with looking at these players, because they seek to be this all-powerful, all-knowing, like you can't control us, we control you. That's the illusion they play. But what if that's not actually true? And so let's clear first. So what is all the unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog around all of this and all the topics we've engaged so far? And all of the unconscious, anti-conscious, energy fog, disinformation, cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, and undisclosed energies and frequencies around all this. And let's put all that out front and in the pile. Take a step back from that and encapsulate everything down below in the pile, back behind, up above, from way out front, from the left, from the right, inside, outside, everything remaining, all in the pile, on the pile. Shrink all that stuff down. Can we shrink all that stuff down? Yeah, I choose that. Boo. Vaporize, occupy, null void, null void, null void. And what are all the entities, demonics, creatures, coalition aliens? Wow. Reptilians, parasitics, beings, doings, gods, and all of the agents and overseers in your body and in your reality. Pre-tag, pre-encapsulate, freeze, tap down, trace, stress, scan ideal, freeze, tie up, down, freeze, tap down, freeze, tap down, tie down, pre-tag, pre-encapsulate, blah, 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 blah. And can we banish all these energies from all of our universes? Yes, I choose that. Prime crater and elbow prime crater, bash all these energies. Do this now. Bash, vanquish, bash, vanquish, bash, vanquish. Resend the book. You can't reclaim, vaporize. Say goodbye, vaporize. Say goodbye, vaporize. Say goodbye, vaporize. Say goodbye, vaporize. So when we're clearing, this is often what we're working on. We're working on the agents and overseers in your reality. And if you were able to let them go, you'll notice it's quieter now. Yep. And there are some that are locked in here by other ways. So what is everything that you agreed you or your body agreed you would do for them, and they agreed they would do for you or your body? And what is everything that was the benefit or value of engaging those energies? And what is everything that was not the benefit or value of engaging those energies? And can we just try and create all of those agreements and points of view? Yeah, I choose that. Resend the book you can't reclaim right now. So now it's just trying to create, make null void, null void. And vaporize, liquefy. Yeah, okay. So let's take a look at, now don't engage these guys, like don't play with them. Just notice the volume or magnitude of them. So let's see how much of an issue this agent overseer thing has been in your life and your reality. So truth, what are all the agents that have been assigned to you over the course of your life? Allow yourself to perceive that. And if you've had very little, then you feel just this tiny, almost imperceptible thing. If you've had a lot, it's like, okay, again, don't engage it, just perceive it. And now think back to, let's go back to your, okay, let's just throw that out. Now, think back to your most challenging relationship. Okay, so because we're talking about this in the context of relationship. When you're in relationship, there's not only these agents in you, there are these agents and overseers in the other person. That's the fifth element. And sometimes for aware people, it's the most dynamic element. Like you see weird stuff coming through that other person, which is the reason a lot of people stay out of relationships. I did. It's like, well, that's just weird shit. I'm not going to engage that. And after a while, I decided I'll play with it. Let's poke at it and let's see what it's. And I learned a lot just by engaging all these energies in relationships. But let's look at the most challenging relationship that you had. What are all the agents that were assigned to manipulate that relationship? Just perceive the general magnitude of that, like roughly how many of those are, okay, and get rid of that. And if you've had like a really good relationship that was just didn't have a lot of the weirdness to it. So think back to one of those, like one of your best relationships, and what are all the agents that were assigned to manipulate you in that relationship? What do you notice there? Notice the difference? Okay, so we can get rid of that. Okay, so allow yourself to perceive what are all the agents that are currently interacting in your reality? And what are all the agents that are currently interacting in your relationships? Ooh. So there's the agents in you, and there's the agents in the person that you're in relationship with. So you're not only in relationship with that person, you're not their infinite being, you're not only in relationship with their body, not only their belief system, not only their gut microbiome, the players that are manipulating their emotions and stuff, and you're also in relationship with their agents and their overseers. There's 5 elements, your 5 and their 5, all showing up in different ways at different times with different points of view, different agendas, all engaging in different ways. Does that answer the question just a little bit of why relationships seem so complicated for people who are aware? Like, what if you, the infinite being, you, the aware aspect, perceives all of this stuff? You don't necessarily understand it or have a way of quantifying it until now, but it's like you perceive this and you're like, wow, what is all that? And in the beginning, it's chaotic and there's just no way to make sense of all of it. The more you practice being in relationship and the more aware you become and the more you keep clearing all this crap that hides it, the more you start to recognize what all this stuff is. And so what I'm here to kind of leave you with as a message around this is you can learn to ignore, work around, and eliminate these agents from your reality. And actually, to some degree, you can learn how to manipulate them and reduce them, or let's just say you can learn to interact with them more effectively in your relationships. And at higher levels, you can actually learn how to clear those in that other person. So this is kind of the core of what I do with people. So if you notice that you have lots of agents and you have lots of dynamic stuff going on in your relationships, you can learn to get bigger than this stuff. It all plays this illusion. It's the same stuff as the false light. They pretend to be big and strong and powerful, and they're hidden and they're covert, and they manipulate you from the inside in so many different ways that you think they're like all-knowing and all-powerful, but they're actually not. And once you start to see their games, and we're going to look at today more about how do you interact with those. So let's look at what's first. So what is all the unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies and frequencies around all of this, and all the unknowable, unspeakable, unseeable, untouchable, and undetectable energies around this. And can we put all that stuff in the pile? Yeah, I choose that. And encapsulate so it doesn't run away. Everything down below, everything from back behind, up above, from way out front, from the left, from the right, inside, outside, everything remaining. Encapsulate all, encapsulate all, encapsulate all, encapsulate all. Wow. And can we shrink all that stuff down to less than nothing? Yeah, I choose that. Boo. Half size, half size, half. Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. Rescind, vote, you can't reclaim, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. Null void, 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 null void. And what are all the entities, demonics, creatures, coalition, aliens, reptilians, parasitics, beings, doings, gods, and other non-contributive energies and frequencies? Pre-tag, pre-encapsulate all, freeze, tap down, freeze, tap down, freeze. Where were we when they were all created, assembled, modified, gilded, sourced at their inception? Pre-tag, pre-encapsulate all, freeze, tap down, freeze, tap down, freeze. Wow. And can we banish all these energies from all universes, planets, virtual reality worlds, simulations, and everything else? I choose that. And your body included. And prime crater, enable prime crater, banish all these energies. Do this now. Banish, anguish, banish, anguish, banish, anguish. Resend, evoke, can't reclaim, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. Sovereign being, somebody freeze, vaporize, liquefy. No void, no void, no void, no void. There we go. Quieter. Yeah. Okay, so let's take a break there, and when we return in our next episode, we're going to look at how to identify relationships that are being set up to mess with you, how it's done, and how to change it. See you next time.